When Nathaniel Rouse stepped out of his sleek black Mercedes, the evening was supposed to be a celebration. His firm had just closed a deal worth over $1.2 billion, and he was expected at a lavish gala thrown in his honor at the Oberwin, the city's most prestigious five-star hotel. His tailored navy suit caught the streetlights just right, his phone vibrating non-stop with messages of congratulations, offers, and invitations. On any other night, Nathaniel would have smiled, soaked it in, and walked forward into more success. But that night, fate had other plans. The car slowed at a red light near the dilapidated quarter of the old city. Something, or rather, someone, caught his eye. There, by the crumbling sidewalk, an elderly woman sat cross-legged on the pavement, a battered plastic bowl resting in her lap. Wrapped in a tattered shawl that barely shielded her frail frame from the evening chill, she kept her head bowed low, unnoticed by the busy crowd. Nathaniel squinted through the tinted glass, a strange knot forming in his chest. The woman's face, though weathered by time and hardship, was heartbreakingly familiar. His breath caught, his world stilled. "Nana," he whispered hoarsely. Without a second thought, Nathaniel flung open the car door, oblivious to the blaring horns and the flashing cameras that quickly turned to catch the scene unfolding. His polished shoes clattered against the rough pavement as he rushed across the street. Dropping to his knees before her, Nathaniel stared, hoping, praying. He was wrong. The woman lifted her gaze slowly, confusion clouding her faded brown eyes. For a moment, there was only a blank stare, but then recognition sparked. "My Chiku," she rasped, her voice trembling and thinned on Nathaniel's heart shattered. Tears burned his eyes as he nodded, his throat too tight to form words. "What happened to you?" he finally managed to choke out. Her lips quivered. "Life happened, Chiku. After your family moved away, there was no one left. I lost my job at the old house. The landlord evicted me. I tried so hard to find other work. But," she trailed off, ashamed, around them. The busy street faded into a distant hum. The photographers hesitated. Bystanders stopped mid-stride. A man, the symbol of modern success, now cradled a frail, forgotten woman against his chest, as if shielding her from a world that had discarded her. Nathaniel wept openly, unashamed. The years of boardrooms, billion-dollar valuations, and high society melted away. Here, at this moment, he was just a boy, her boy. "I searched for you," he whispered fiercely. "When I returned, I asked everyone. Nobody knew. Nobody cared." She smiled weakly. "Because, Beta, people only remember until it is inconvenient to do so. I didn't blame anyone. I just hoped you were safe. Look at you, Nathaniel. You're shining, just like I always said you would." Nathaniel shrugged off his jacket and wrapped it around her frail shoulders. The fine Italian fabric looked absurd on her, but it was the only thing he could offer in that moment. "You shouldn't have ended up like this," he said, voice cracking. "You raised me when my parents were too busy living their own dreams. You told me stories. You fed me. You stayed up all night when I had fevers. You made my childhood warm." She smiled, her eyes glistening. "You were my little sunshine. I had no children of my own. But in you, I found all the love a mother could hope for." A fruit vendor approached silently, offering a bottle of water. Nathaniel took it with a grateful nod, gently pressing it to her lips. After helping her drink, he turned to his chauffeur. "We're going home," he said firmly, "and she's coming with us." "But sir, the celebration, cancel it," Nathaniel interrupted, his tone brooking no argument. "I have someone far more important to celebrate tonight." He turned back to her, offering his hand. "From today, you'll never beg again. You'll never sleep on these cold streets. Not while I'm breathing." She tried to resist, shaking her head. "I don't want your pity, Chiku." "This isn't pity," he said tenderly, helping her stand with infinite care. "This is love, Nana. This is gratitude." He led her to the waiting car, supporting her with one arm like a fragile relic of his past. As the car doors closed, cutting off the noise of the street, Nathaniel realized he felt lighter than he had in years. The drive back to his estate was silent, but not uncomfortable. Nathaniel watched her out of the corner of his eye. She clutched his jacket tightly around herself, eyes wide at the glittering city lights that now seemed so alien to her. "Do you remember sneaking me sweets before dinner?" he asked suddenly, a soft smile playing at his lips. Her eyes twinkled. "And getting scolded by your mother when she found the crumbs on your bed." They both chuckled, the tension in the car easing. When they pulled up to the towering gates of his mansion, the security staff looked bewildered. But one glance at Nathaniel's solemn face was enough. No one questioned him as he helped the woman out with reverence usually reserved for royalty. That he barked orders. "Prepare the East Wing suite. Get the on-call physician here immediately." That night, Nathaniel sat at her bedside, not leaving even when the doctor arrived and diagnosed her condition: severe malnutrition, anemia, and chronic fatigue. All fixable, all reversible. "She's going to be all right," the doctor assured him gently. "She just needs time, nutrition, and love." "She will have all three," Nathaniel vowed, his hand never letting go of hers. Later, he brought her a tray of soup himself. She tried to protest, embarrassed. "You shouldn't be doing this," she murmured. "I should have done it a long time ago," he countered, scooping the soup and gently feeding her as she lay against the silk pillows. Tears welled in her eyes. "Why are you doing this, Nathaniel?" He smiled softly. "Because you were the only one who loved me when I had nothing, when I wasn't anybody. You're my family." She couldn't hold back her sobs then, and he stayed by her side all night, letting her cry, letting her heal. Weeks turned into months. Under the private care team Nathaniel assembled, she transformed. Color returned to her cheeks. Her laughter, once a distant memory, became a familiar sound in the marble halls of his mansion. And every evening, Nathaniel made time, no matter the business, no matter the pressure, to have dinner with her, just like she once sat beside him decades ago. Word of their reunion spread. The media called it heartwarming. Headlines splashed across social media: "Billionaire brings street beggar home. Turns out she raised him." But Nathaniel ignored the noise. This wasn't for the world. This was for her. One afternoon, as golden sunlight bathed the manicured gardens, Nathaniel sat beside her on a carved stone bench, sipping chai from delicate porcelain cups. "I want to do something in your honor," he said suddenly. She looked puzzled. "In my honor? What do you mean?" "A home," Nathaniel said. "For women like you. Forgotten women. Women who loved, who gave everything, and were abandoned." Her hands trembled slightly around the cup. "Oh, Beta, I want to name it after you," he said, smiling. "I'll call it the Asha home." She blinked back tears. "You still remember my name means hope?" "I remember everything," he said simply. 3 months later, the Asha home opened its doors, a sprawling sanctuary filled with warm beds, stocked kitchens, flower gardens, and endless bookshelves. During the inaugural ceremony, Nathaniel wheeled his beloved Nana to the front, her face radiant. He gave a short speech, but his closing words stayed with everyone who heard them. "I built my fortune with ambition," he said, voice firm and unwavering. "But I built my heart with her love." The crowd rose in standing ovation, but Nathaniel only looked at her, the woman who, without asking for anything, had given him everything. And in that moment, surrounded by applause, success, and flashing lights, Nathaniel Rao was no longer just a billionaire. He was simply a boy who found his way back home. And the woman who once cradled him in her arms now lived the rest of her days cradled in the comfort, dignity, and love she had always deserved. Because true wealth, Nathaniel realized, isn't counted in dollars or stock options. True wealth is counted in the moments you choose to remember the hands that once held you when you had absolutely nothing to offer back. Only the pure, honest love of a child.